It was late evening, and Daniel sat alone in his small apartment. The rain tapped softly on the windows, and the city lights glowed outside like tiny stars. He was watching an old science fiction movie, something about aliens and love. He smiled, thinking, I wish something exciting would happen in real life. But Daniel's life was quiet, too quiet. Then, something strange happened. His laptop screen flickered, once, then again. The movie paused on its own, and the screen went black. Words appeared slowly, glowing in a soft blue color. You are perfect for my mom. Human. Daniel blinked, thinking it was some kind of joke. He looked around the room, nervous. Then more text appeared. If you're single, would you marry her? He laughed, trying to shake it off. Okay, someone's hacking me. Good prank, he said aloud. He reached for the mouse to close the window, but before he could click, the screen changed again. Now a video started playing. It showed a child, but not a normal one. She had bright silver eyes, smooth bluish skin, and short curly hair that floated like it was in water. She was sitting in what looked like a spaceship, surrounded by blinking lights. She smiled gently, then spoke in perfect English. Hello, human, she said. My name is Zara. You don't know me, but I have been watching you for many weeks. I think you are kind, honest, and brave. My mom is very sad, very alone. I want her to smile again, and I think you can help. Daniel sat frozen in his chair, his heart beating fast. Was this real? Was this a deep fake? He reached for his phone to record the screen, but the video paused. Zara's voice returned, but this time as audio only. I know this is strange, but I'm not trying to hurt you, she said. I used an old Earth satellite to send this message. I'm not allowed to talk to humans, but I had to try. Please don't be afraid. She continued, I just want you to meet her. Then the screen flashed again. A map appeared, showing a forest area just 2 hours from Daniel's city. Coordinates blinked at the bottom, along with a countdown timer, 12 hours and ticking down. Underneath it read, Come alone, we will be waiting. Daniel leaned back in his chair, his hands shaking. Was this real? Could aliens really be reaching out to him? And why him? He opened his search engine and typed the coordinates. It led to an old national park, deep, quiet, and far from towns. He had camped there once, many years ago. Nothing was there, just trees and silence. His thoughts raced. If this was fake, why would someone go through all this trouble? If it was real, then he had just been invited by an alien child to meet her mother. And the strangest part? Something deep inside him wanted to go. He had no family left, no job right now, nothing to lose, but maybe, just maybe, something to find. He closed the laptop and stood up slowly. The city lights flickered outside, as if the universe was winking at him. He grabbed his backpack, tossed in a flashlight, a bottle of water, and a warm jacket. He paused, then added an old photo of himself and his mom, who had passed away last year. As he zipped the bag, he whispered to himself, if this is real, I'll never be the same again. Hours later, Daniel drove through the dark roads, his eyes wide and focused. The countdown on his watch ticked lower and lower. When he reached the edge of the forest, he parked the car and stepped out. The night was quiet, the moonlight shining through tall trees. He walked into the woods, following the coordinates on his phone. No sounds, no wind, just his footsteps and his breath. Then he saw it, a glowing light in the clearing ahead, soft and blue like moonlight. A round ship floated just a few inches above the ground, smooth and silent, and in front of it stood the same little girl, Zara. She looked at him with curious eyes. You came, she said softly. Daniel nodded slowly, his voice barely a whisper. I guess. I'm ready, Zara smiled, then turned toward the ship. Come with me, she said. She's waiting. And with that, Daniel took his first step into a world he never knew existed, a world where aliens needed him, and maybe where love was waiting among the stars. Daniel followed Zara toward the glowing ship. It was quiet, almost too quiet. like the world was holding its breath. The spaceship didn't make a sound, not even a hum. Its surface was smooth, shining, like glass yet soft like moonlight. As they reached the entrance, a small ramp slid down without a sound. Zara turned to him, her silver eyes serious. "I trust you," she said, "but my ship does not." Before he could ask what she meant, a blue light scanned his body from head to toe. Daniel froze, but Zara waved at the ship. "It's okay, he's safe," she whispered. The light blinked twice, then faded, allowing him inside. The inside was nothing like he expected. It was warm, with soft lights and gentle music playing. Strange floating symbols hovered in the air, changing shape slowly. "Those are memory scripts," Zara said, pointing. "They help the ship remember feelings." Daniel looked amazed. "A ship with emotions?" Zara nodded. "This ship was built by my mom." They walked through a curved hallway that glowed with every step. Zara stopped in front of a round door. "I'll bring her here soon," she said. "But first, I need to know something." Daniel looked down at her. "What is it? Why did you say yes?" she asked, tilting her head. "You don't know me, you don't know her, but you came." Daniel thought for a moment. "I don't know," he said honestly. "Maybe I'm just tired of being alone. Maybe I believe that strange things happen for a reason." Zara smiled softly, then tapped the door. "I hope she believes that too." The door opened with a soft whoosh, revealing a small room with a giant window. Through it, the stars could be seen, millions of them, moving slowly as the ship rose above Earth. Daniel rushed to the window, surprised. "We're flying?" Zara laughed. "We're not staying on Earth tonight. You need to meet her where she feels strongest." Daniel's heart pounded. He didn't know they'd leave the planet, but something inside him said not to panic. He sat down quietly, staring at the stars, and then he saw her. The door behind him opened again, and someone stepped in. She was tall, with deep blue skin and glowing hair that moved like water. Her eyes were sharp but tired, full of stories untold. Zara ran to her, hugging her tight. "Mom," she said, "this is the human I told you about." The alien woman looked at Daniel. Silent for a moment, her gaze was strong, not angry, but guarded. She stepped forward slowly. "I am Kalora, leader of the Meridian Guard," she said. "You should not be here." Daniel stood up, unsure what to say. "I didn't come to fight," he said. "Your daughter invited me." Kalora looked at Zara, her face unreadable. "She is young," she said. "She doesn't understand the danger. I understand enough." Zara said, stepping forward. "He's kind, he's brave, and he listens. You don't have to be alone anymore, Mom." Kalora's face changed slightly, her eyes softer now. "Humans broke promises before," she said. "They brought war, not peace." "I'm not them," Daniel said quietly. "I didn't come to hurt anyone. I came because someone asked me with honesty." There was silence in the room, only the sound of the ship humming in the background. Then Kalora said, "You will stay one night." "Nothing more," Daniel nodded. "That's fair, but if you want to talk, I'll listen." Kalora turned away, but didn't leave instead. She walked to the window and stared at the stars. Zara pulled Daniel aside and whispered. "She used to smile once. She used to sing songs." Daniel looked at Kalora, wondering what she had lost, what kind of life she had lived. Maybe he couldn't fix her pain, but maybe, just maybe, he could remind her she was not alone. Then the ship shook, just a little. Lights blinked red for a second, then returned to normal. Kalora turned quickly, her warrior instinct sharp. "We're being followed," she said. "Someone knows you're here." Daniel's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Kalora looked serious now, her voice cold. "It means this was never just a meeting. It might be a trap." Zara grabbed Daniel's hand. "We have to leave the ship," she said. "There's a place on the planet where they can't track us." Daniel took a deep breath. He didn't know what was happening, but he knew one thing. He wasn't going back, not yet. "Lead the way," he said, and with that, The three of them disappeared into a new chapter of danger, trust, and something else. Something neither human nor alien had expected. Hope. Asterisk. The forest below the stars looked quiet, but danger moved like shadows in the trees. Kalora, Zara, and Daniel had escaped the ship using the hidden drop pod. It landed deep in a wild part of the alien world, far from the cities, far from the eyes of the council. Kalora walked ahead, tall and alert, her body tense like a silent guard. Daniel followed, confused but curious. Everything around him felt alive, glowing plants, floating lights, and creatures that shimmered like fog. It was a dream. Or a warning. Zara stayed close to Daniel, her hand holding his tightly. "She brings you here because this is her past," Zara whispered. "This is where she lived before she became a warrior." They reached a strange cave covered in silver vines. Kalora stopped, looked back at Daniel, and finally spoke. "If you want answers," she said, "then you must see the truth." Inside the cave, Daniel saw walls glowing with old carvings. They showed images, her people standing side by side with humans. There were ships, handshakes, even laughter. Daniel stared in disbelief. You were friends with humans?" Kalora's face was unreadable. "A long time ago," she said, "before they betrayed us. One human promised peace and gave us war instead." Zara looked down, as if ashamed. "But not all humans are the same," she whispered. "Not him." Kalora didn't answer. Instead, she walked deeper into the cave and stood before a tall, glowing pillar. She placed her hand on it, and the room changed. The walls melted into moving light, showing a memory. A young Kalora laughing, dancing with a human man near a waterfall. They held hands, shared food, even sang together. Then suddenly, fire, smoke, soldiers, weapons. The human was gone, and Kalora was alone, surrounded by death. The vision faded, and silence returned. Kalora turned toward Daniel, her voice cold but honest. "That man was Zara's father," Daniel gasped. "You loved a human." Kalora nodded slowly. "And he left us in war." Zara stepped forward, tears in her silver eyes. "He didn't mean to," she said. "He tried to save us, but the council blamed him." Daniel felt the weight in the air, the pain, the anger. He stepped forward carefully. "I'm sorry," he said. "I can't change your past, but I can prove your future doesn't have to repeat it." Kalora looked at him, something shifting behind her eyes. For the first time, she didn't see a stranger. She saw a man standing still while carrying truth. Then a sharp sound cut through the air, a whistle, high-pitched and mechanical. Kalora's expression turned to alarm. "We're not alone," she said. "They found us." From outside the cave, lights flashed, red and white. Blinking fast, Zara pulled Daniel back. "They'll think you're a spy," she said. "They'll take you." Kalora stood between Daniel and the cave entrance, her arms spread wide. "No one touches him," she said firmly. "Not until I say he's a threat." The soldiers outside didn't wait. They sent in a flying orb, a seeker drone, scanning the air with lasers. Kalora threw a small crystal at it, and the orb exploded with a flash. Daniel was stunned. She just protected him. Kalora turned around, breathing hard. "You must leave this planet," she said to Daniel. "You were never meant to see this." "I didn't come to run," Daniel said quietly. "I came because your daughter believes in you, and now I believe in her." The cave began to rumble, not from an attack, but from the old tech reacting to Kalora's emotions. The glowing wall behind her shifted, revealing a hidden doorway. Zara's eyes lit up. "I've never seen that door before." Kalora stepped closer to it, confused. "This wasn't here when I was young," she said. Daniel felt pulled toward it, like gravity was stronger near the doorway. "Maybe it only opens when trust begins," he whispered. Kalora looked at him sharply, then slowly nodded. "We stepped through together," she said. "No secrets." The three of them entered the glowing passage, leaving behind the world they knew, and stepping into something ancient, forgotten, and powerful. Behind them, The cave sealed itself. Ahead of them, light danced like stars, and voices echoed softly in a language older than time. The story was no longer just about a daughter finding love for her mother. It was about history, pain, and maybe healing, and somewhere far above. The traders in the council watched and whispered, "The human cannot be allowed to change her heart." Asterisk. The secret hallway inside the glowing cave felt alive. The walls pulsed with soft blue light. Like a heartbeat, Daniel, Kalora, and Zara moved slowly, unsure where it would lead. None of them spoke, but each step carried questions they didn't dare ask. Kalora walked ahead, her body tense, hand on the curved blade strapped to her side. She didn't fully trust the human, not yet, but something about the way he spoke, the way he stayed, confused her heart. No other human had done that, not since the one who broke it. Daniel watched her from behind, his thoughts racing. He wasn't a hero, just a man who said yes to something strange. But now he was standing between worlds, and one wrong move could mean war. Zara walked beside him, whispering stories only he could hear. "My mom used to sing here," she said. "When she was young, she believed in peace, in love, and something more." The path opened into a wide, hidden chamber. In the center stood a floating crystal, turning slowly above a ring of carved stones. Kalora stopped, her face suddenly pale. "This is the Heart Vault," she said, almost a whisper. "No one was supposed to know it still exists." "What is it?" Daniel asked, staring at the light. Kalora stepped forward, her voice steady but heavy. "It shows you the truth inside you," she said, "even if you're not ready to see it." Zara looked at Daniel with wide eyes. "If you want my mom to trust you," she said, "you have to touch it." Daniel hesitated, then stepped forward. His hand reached toward the glowing crystal, and the moment his skin touched it, everything changed. The room vanished, replaced by images. He saw his childhood, his mother's laughter, her death, the loneliness that followed. He saw himself in the mirror, the nights he cried alone, the days he smiled for others. Then he saw Zara and Kalora. He saw the moment he said yes, the moment he decided to believe in something impossible. Tears filled his eyes, not from pain, but from truth. He didn't come for adventure. He came because someone saw goodness in him, and that someone had silver eyes and hope too big for one heart. When the light faded, Kalora was staring at him differently. Her blade was no longer in her hand. She stepped forward and placed her hand on the crystal too. Images flashed. Again, her lost love, her rage, the war, the lies told by the council, but also her daughter's smile and Daniel's kindness. When the light ended, she looked at him quietly. "You didn't lie," she said. "You're not like the others." But before he could speak, the ground trembled. A voice echoed from above, deep, cold, and angry. "So the warrior queen has fallen for a human again." Flame shot down from the cave ceiling. A dark figure appeared, covered in armor made of black glass and red wires. It was Counselor Varnek, the same alien who had blamed humans for the last war. With him were 2 hunter drones, sharp, fast, and silent. Kalora moved in front of Daniel and Zara, her blade now glowing with blue fire. "You followed us," she said. "You dare come to the Heart Vault?" Varnek laughed, a low, bitter sound. "You should have killed the human when you had the chance. He will poison your mind like the last one did." Daniel stepped forward, surprising everyone. "I'm not here to steal her heart," he said. "I'm here to earn it." Varnek's eyes narrowed. "Then prove it," he said, and raised a hand. The hunter drones rushed toward them, fast and deadly. Kalora blocked one with her blade. Sparks flying, Zara threw a small orb at the other, sending it crashing into a wall. But one drone flew straight at Daniel, and he had no weapon. He didn't run. He stepped in front of Zara and raised his arms, shielding her with his own body. The drone struck, but the Heart Vault pulsed with light, sending out a shockwave. The drone was thrown back, sparks bursting from its joints. Kalora stared at Daniel, shocked. You You protected my daughter, she whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. With my life. Varnak shouted in rage, but before he could attack again, Kalora leapt forward. Her blade struck true clean. Fast, final, Varnak fell, defeated, his lies. Dying with him, silence returned to the cave. Zara ran to Daniel and hugged him tightly. Kalora walked over slowly, then placed a hand on his shoulder. You don't just speak like the old ones, she said. You act like them. Daniel looked at her, tired but smiling. I'm not here to replace your past, he said. I'm just here. If you want someone in your future. Kalora didn't answer right away, but she didn't walk away either. And that was enough. The battle inside the heart vault had ended. Counselor Varnak was gone, and silence returned to the ancient chamber. But peace didn't follow. The walls began to hum, the ground trembled, and a deep echo rose from the crystal. Kalora stepped back, eyes wide. This place is reacting, she said. It hasn't been touched by truth in centuries. Zara held Daniel's hand tightly. Something is waking up, she whispered. The floor beneath them lit up, revealing a second spiral path leading downward, not carved by hand, but grown, alive, like the planet itself had opened a secret. Kalora looked at Daniel, her voice softer than before. You proved your heart, she said. Now let's see what this place has to show us. The three stepped onto the glowing path, walking into the unknown. The deeper they went, the warmer it became, not hot like fire, but warm like memory. Like something old was waiting to be heard, they entered a wide chamber carved from crystalline roots. In the center was a round platform surrounded by floating stones. One by one, the stones lit up, showing holograms, pieces of history lost for generations. The first image showed humans and Kalora's people working together, building, laughing, sharing knowledge, not enemies, but allies. The second showed something else. Betrayal, yes, but not by humans. Kalora leaned forward, shocked. This isn't what the council told us, she said. Daniel pointed at a figure in the vision. That's Varnak, he said. And he's handing alien tech to his secret human faction, Zara gasped. He started the war himself, she said, to blame humans and take power. Kalora's hands curled into fists. All this time, she whispered, I hated the wrong people. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. The entrance above them exploded in dust and flame. A voice boomed through the cave, cold, electronic and cruel. You should not have seen this. A tall machine floated down, part drone, part alien. Its face was covered with council symbols, but its voice belonged to something else. The truth must stay buried, it said. You three will not leave this place. Kalora raised her blade. Zara held a crystal orb tight. Daniel looked around. No exit, no path, just one option. Use the platform, he said. I think it's a transport gate, the machine fired, sending blasts of red energy toward them. Kalora blocked one, barely standing. Zara dropped the orb, and it shattered, releasing a burst of blue light. It struck the platform, which hummed loudly and began to spin. Get on, Daniel shouted, pulling them both forward. They jumped onto the platform just as the machine launched a final strike. The blast hit the edge, but the platform vanished in a flash of white light. They landed hard in a new place, a quiet forest. Not far from where Daniel first met Zara, it was night again, but the stars above looked different, clearer, calmer, closer. The forest here was peaceful, untouched. They had escaped, but not by chance. Kalora sat on the grass, breathing heavily. Daniel knelt beside her. You all right? She nodded slowly. That place. It wanted us to know, she said. It needed someone to believe. Zara stood silently, then pointed at the sky. Look, she said. In the distance, far above the trees, a giant blue symbol glowed across the clouds. It was the same symbol as the crystal vault, a sign of unity between species, a beacon lit after centuries. The planet itself had sent a message. The truth could no longer be hidden. Daniel looked at Kelora. "You're not alone anymore." He said, "You never were." She looked at him, truly looked at him this time. Not with fear, not with anger, but with quiet hope. Zara smiled. "I think the planet likes you." She whispered. Daniel chuckled. "I just hope your mom likes me too." Kelora stood slowly and walked toward him. She didn't speak, but placed her hand gently over his heart. A simple gesture, yet powerful. "Maybe it's time," she said, "to stop running from the past." And somewhere deep in the shadows of the council tower, other voices were rising. The truth had escaped, and it carried the human's name, Daniel, the one who touched the vault, the one who stood for peace. The war was not over yet, but the silence had been broken. The forest was quiet, but the wind carried change. Daniel stood near the edge of a cliff, watching stars drift like slow-moving fireflies. Behind him, Kelora prepared her armor, not for war, but for truth. Zara knelt by a flat rock, drawing symbols with a glowing stone. Ancient words of peace. The hidden platform they had discovered, the Heart Vault, had sent a signal. Across the stars, across minds, whispers of it spread across Kelora's planet, like wind through dry grass. The people were listening. The council was watching. Kelora looked up from her blade and spoke. "I was once feared by all," she said. "Now they fear what I know." Daniel stepped closer. "Then let's show them," he said. Together, Zara's drawing lit up suddenly. Pulsing like a heartbeat, she looked at them both, eyes wide. "The ship is ready," she said. "It's time." They boarded Kelora's personal craft. Old, scarred, but fast, as it rose into the sky. The stars above felt closer, brighter. They flew toward the central city, the capital where the High Council ruled. But they weren't alone. Other ships joined them mid-flight, warriors from distant regions, old friends of Kelora. They had seen the signal. They had heard the truth. And they came not to fight, but to stand. The city glowed like a jewel in the dark, but its heart was cold. The council tower stood tall in the center, built from black stone and silence. Inside it, 12 council members waited, seated high above the chamber floor. Some curious, some nervous, some already planning betrayal. Kelora entered first, tall and calm, her voice strong. "I demand a voice," she said. "The vault has spoken," one counselor laughed. "Stories from caves don't change law," he said, "especially stories told by a human pet." Daniel stepped forward, unshaken. "I'm not a pet," he said. "I'm a mirror. I saw your past, your lies, and the price others paid for your fear." Gasps echoed in the chamber. The youngest counselor stood up, a young female named Salai. She had always doubted the old leaders. She looked at Kelora, then at Daniel. "Show us," she said. Kelora raised her hand, revealing a crystal fragment from the vault. She placed it on the center platform, and it lit up. Images appeared. Old treaties, shared technology, Varnak's betrayal, and Kelora's pain. The truth played for all to see. Some council members stood in silence. Ashamed, others shouted, denying what they saw. One tried to shut down the projection, but the crystal burned hotter, glowing blue with the planet's will. Then Zara stepped forward, holding a small device. "I recorded the final words of Varnak," she said. With a single press, his voice echoed in the chamber. "The truth must stay buried. The girl and her human must not live." Silence, thick and heavy, fell over the room. No one could argue now, not even the ones who once called Kelora dangerous. Then, from the viewing platforms above, the people began to speak. Sit-ins from across the planet beamed in through holoscreens. "I believe her. She was never the enemy. She saved us. She stood when no one else did." The chamber, once ruled by fear, now echoed with voices of hope. Salai stood again and looked at the others. "It is time," she said. "This council must change." The old leaders, one by one, stepped down or were escorted away. Kelora didn't smile, but her eyes softened. She turned to Daniel. "You didn't fight with weapons," she said. You fought with truth. Daniel nodded slowly. And you let me, he said. That's what made it work. As the crowd outside gathered, cheering, lights filled the sky, ships circled above. Not as guards, but as witnesses. A voice echoed from the city towers. Broadcast across the world. For the first time in generations, truth has no chains. Zara smiled as she took both their hands. You did it, she whispered. Together. Kelora looked at Daniel, eyes reflecting stars. You stood beside me when no one else would, she said. Maybe. You were meant to. Daniel didn't answer. He simply stood taller, not as a guest, not as a stranger, but as someone who chose to stay, and far above, in the silence of space. Other watchers took notice. If one human could change a world with heart alone, what else might follow? The story wasn't ending, it was just becoming legend. Asterisk. The stars above shimmered quietly. The sky was calm, but the world below had changed. Daniel stood at the edge of the great sky terrace, a wide stone balcony above the capital. Thousands of glowing lights floated below. People celebrating, planets listening, histories rewriting. Behind him, Kelora stood in her ceremonial armor. But today, it was not for battle, it was for truth, and perhaps for something more. Zara skipped between them, her smile brighter than any moon. I told you he was perfect, she whispered, then laughed and ran toward the garden. Kelora walked to Daniel's side, silent for a moment. They want me to lead the new council, she said, to rebuild what the old ones destroyed. Daniel nodded slowly. They chose well, he replied. What about you? Kelora turned to him, her voice calm but unsure. For most of my life I gave everything to duty, she said. Now I'm being asked to give something to peace. She looked at Daniel closely. You came from another world, no army, no power, no plan. You changed mine, Daniel chuckled softly. All I did was say yes to a little girl. Kelora smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in years. Sometimes that's all it takes, she said. They sat down on a low bench, the night wind wrapping around them gently. Daniel reached into his small pack and pulled out a simple object, a faded photograph. His mother's smile looked back at him, soft and loving. I kept this with me, he said, to remind me what home used to feel like. Kelora looked at the photo with curiosity and quiet respect. She would be proud of you, she said. Daniel nodded. I think she'd like you. A small pause followed, full of meaning but no pressure. Then Zara returned, carrying something in her hands, a glowing seed. This is a promise tree seed, she said excitedly. If you plant it together, it listens. It remembers what you felt when you touched it. She handed it to them gently, then skipped away. Leaving silence once again, Kelora turned the seed in her hand, the glow flickering between their fingers. If you leave now, she said softly, no one would blame you. You helped us, saved us, healed things we thought were broken. You have done more than enough. Daniel didn't speak right away. He looked at the stars, at the city, at the strange world that had become familiar, and finally, at her. I didn't come here to fix you, he said. I came because someone believed I could matter. And now, I want to stay. Kelora's eyes softened, her voice barely a whisper. Even if it's not easy? Even if our ways are different? Daniel smiled. Love doesn't care about species, he said. It cares about staying, even when it's strange. She stood, walked toward the garden soil, and placed the seed gently into the earth. Daniel knelt beside her, pressing his hand on the soil too. A warm glow spread from the spot, and the ground pulsed softly, like it understood. The promise tree would grow, not fast, but strong, and it would remember. As the stars shifted above, Kelora turned to him. I may never say the words the way humans do, she said, but I will protect what we build. I will choose you, again and again. Daniel looked at her, eyes full of calm. Then, that's all I need, he said. They stood together, not as alien and human, Not as warrior and visitor, but as something new, something rare. A bridge between two hearts and two worlds. Zara looked at them from the garden wall, hands on her cheeks. Finally, she whispered, grinning wide. I have a family. And as the promise tree took root beneath the stars, the galaxy took notice, not of a war, not of power, but of a single silent promise, made between one brave human and one broken warrior. That love, once buried in fear, could rise again, and maybe, just maybe, change the universe.